The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of How You Play the Game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of How You Play the Game, the official podcast of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated. Yours truly, Jack Furr, along with you as we talk about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the second episode of the month of May. The year is 2025. Glad you can be with us. As always, check us out online at osipfoundation.org. You can contact the show using the email address podcast@osipfoundation.org. On social media, we're at facebook.com/osipfoundation, X and Instagram at osipfoundation, hashtag How You Play the Game. Before I forget, most importantly, this is the final episode before our third annual OSIP celebration. Tickets are on sale now for $105. Really want you to be there. It's a great night. We are honoring two New Jersey Assemblywomen who have co-sponsored the Penalty Box Act in our state legislature, which seeks to increase penalties for assault against officials and other adults. Really want you to be there. It's a good time. There's a buffet. There's an open bar. There's a band. There's a silent auction. Check it out at osipfoundation.org/celebration. We want you there. Now, let's get on to today's topic. A while back ago, it looks like at the end of April, there was a baseball game going on in the Bronx, game one of a doubleheader between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. And our good friend Chris Conroy was on the game. Now, he had the plate for the first game, so he didn't work the second game. And essentially, there was a situation in the game where Chris ejected two people. He ejected the pitcher for the Blue Jays, Kevin Gausman, and then their manager, John Schneider, who grew up just down the street from where I'm recording now. And essentially, in this instance, there's something specific that I want to highlight. So let's go over the situation first, okay? Let's see here. In the bottom of the third inning, Gausman just kind of lost it, okay? You had fly out, walk, single, RBI sac fly, walked in a run, walked in another run, double for 3 runs, okay? Schneider comes out to remove Gausman, who threw, I think it was like 51 pitches in that inning or something like that. Gausman gets tossed during the pitching change by Chris for saying things that were very, very naughty. And the statistics show that Chris correctly officiated 30 out of the 31 pitches that were not hit, essentially, that he had to either adjudicate ball or strike. So therefore, we call that a correct call. Hilariously, Gausman, as he was being ejected, fell down the stairs of the dugout going back into the clubhouse, which was what we call karma. Now, that's not what I wanted to discuss specifically here, okay? In the 5th inning, with nobody out and nobody on, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is up, and he takes a 1-0 changeup from Max Fried for a called first strike. And the pitch was a strike. It was over the outer edge of home plate and at the hollow of the knee. Call is correct. At this point, Schneider starts barking at Chris, and Chris decides to eject him. And at that point, what essentially happened was Chris just kind of sits there, lets John have his say, he leaves, etc. And then if you look at what happens in the rest of that at-bat, okay, Guerrero, I believe, strikes out looking. And he's not happy. He didn't get tossed, but he's not happy at the calls. And I'm watching this live, and I believe it was the second pitch, the second strike that was called, which may have been, I think, a little inside. However, the reason I'm bringing this up is because what has essentially happened here is John Schneider, the manager of the Blue Jays, took the at-bat out of the hands of Vlad Guerrero Jr., his own hitter. When you come out to argue the way that he did, when you argue things when the umpire is doing his job correctly, all you're doing is psychologically affecting the way that the umpire is about to continue to do his job, because now he's thinking about what just happened. He's a human being. Now, I know Chris will never admit to this, but I know from my personal experience that in those situations, I might miss a call or two after that. If Schneider had just kept his mouth shut, now all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe Vlad has a better at-bat. The point here is that the negative reactions that occur in these arguments and whatnot usually end up hurting you more than just saying your piece and getting your money's worth. Okay? You're not actually defending your team. You're hurting your team. Because I could make an argument that the next pitch that Chris called, which was probably inside, he called it a strike, and I'm thinking to myself, is it possible because he was on edge from the argument that just occurred that he could have missed that? Maybe. It's certainly possible. And again, I don't think he'll ever admit it. He might not even remember it. But down here at the amateur level, I think that's very real. And I want people to understand that when you argue this kind of stuff in sports, you're actually making it worse for your own team. You're not actually going to get things going your way. This was a prime example of that. Maybe, just maybe, Kevin Gausman had a bad game. Maybe, just maybe, the first strike called on Guerrero was actually a strike. That's how messed up it is. Okay? And I'd like people to understand that. There's actually a very funny moment in the clip, if you watch the clip of the ejection, where Schneider comes out and is pointing his finger in Conroy's face and he's saying, "It's your fault that my pitcher did all this." And you can see Chris just go, "My fault?" And then everything after that is this priceless look on his face of, okay. And I'm just laughing at myself like, I bet you, we've all been in arguments like that, probably with our spouses or significant others, right? Yeah, okay. Or our bosses or someone, it's just so funny. It's so funny. But these are two grown men in Gausman and Schneider acting like spoiled children. That and saying things that they shouldn't. It's sad. It's just absolutely sad. And yes, if you were wondering, this was the second fried rice game that Chris had. He had Max Fried on the mound, and this time Ben Rice was in the lineup for the Yankees with Max Fried pitching for the Yankees. So yes, it was yet his second fried rice game. I'll be sure to ask him about it next time I talk to him. But I hope that everyone understands the message that I'm trying to say here is that when you are arguing this kind of stuff, when you are creating more conflict and more disdain, more dissent, you're actually creating more vitriol that will harm your case. Don't do that. For the same reason that you're not going to upset a police officer who may have pulled you over. Do you want a ticket? It's the same thing. It's just that for whatever reason in baseball and in sports, we wear these violations like a badge of honor, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever even considered. So the message today is simple. Maybe look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe in the practical protocol of a sporting contest, don't piss off the official. Just some simple thoughts. Most importantly, though, I hope you are at our celebration coming up on June 1st. Get your tickets now. Really important that you do. Really important that you're there. Okay? osipfoundation.org/celebration. Get your tickets now. Trust me on this one. Other than that, check us out at osipfoundation.org. Email the show at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Facebook.com/osipfoundation. X and Instagram @osipfoundation. #how you play the game. We'll talk to you in June. Everybody take care and treat each other with respect. How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.